How to find movie auditions. As you may have guessed it, this video is all about how to find auditions, and how to think of submitting audition tapes to those auditions, if it's a call for self-tape auditions, that is. Overall, this should help you while developing your career in the acting business, and even for those who are just wondering how to get started in acting, this video should give you a few great golden nuggets that you can leverage in your journey forward. I have another video on the YouTube channel that's all about how to audition. So after you finish this video, you should definitely check that one out as well, especially if you're wondering how to get started in acting with no experience. So if you're brand new at this too. But even for you seasoned veterans out there, you'll find some value in here, I hope. Let's get started. I'm Daniel Brea. I'm a producer and director here in Los Angeles, and I help actors and media creatives, filmmakers, and other creative entrepreneurs get creative and financial independence, because hey, who wants to depend on others, right? So I do that through providing you with content and support just like this. So make sure you like, subscribe, and if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, check out some of my other stuff. So number one, the best way to get auditions, or one of the ways to get auditions, the biggest auditions, is, as you might have expected, by having an agent submit you. So get an agent or a manager to represent you. And while that may be obvious and much easier said than done, it's the agent's job to keep their head on the railroad tracks, or their ears on the railroad tracks, and notify you when there's a relevant casting call out there that you might be a good fit for. And usually the bigger studios and TV networks and stuff, they do curated auditions. They reach directly out to agents first, oftentimes before casting calls hit other platforms. The core cast has already been taken care of to a degree, right? So agents are really good for the big stuff. Now, not everyone has an agent and a manager, or a manager even, and we have other videos that cover how to get those. So again, check out the channel if you want to learn more about that. But if you're wondering how to find movie auditions, or just how to find auditions in general without representation, whether it's commercial or TV and other things too, well, there are several ways you can do that. One, casting directors post what are called breakdowns, basically their role and project descriptions for projects that they're casting. And not just casting directors, I'm saying that sort of as a global term now, producers, directors, depending on, if you're doing an independent project, it might be the director, him or herself, posting the breakdown. But in any effect, that person would be acting as the casting director for that project. So for the lack of a better definition, casting directors post breakdowns on online platforms that you can access for small fees usually. The big platforms are the ones that you really should be on, are Actors Access, casting networks, sometimes called LA Casting, New York Casting, depending what market you're in, and Casting Frontier, and Backstage. There are many more of these out there. Everyone has sort of their pros and cons, and if you're not on the ones I just mentioned, though, you should get on them ASAP. Some of them even have built-in tools to submit your online audition tapes directly to a breakdown, so that's definitely a plus, right? Less cumbersome. I believe Casting Frontier has a built-in thing. Some of the other ones might too. Two, social media is growing in popularity for casting calls too. So, look for movie, TV, or commercial audition opportunities on platforms like Instagram, Facebook, using hashtags like casting call, casting LA, New York, depending on where you are, casting Atlanta, casting Memphis, Tennessee, wherever you are. Look for hashtag casting, hashtag casting call, and so forth. And, the acting business is quite vast. And part of becoming a working actor is finding new ways to connect with people and get in front of decision makers as often as you can. So following casting offices in your local market on social media platforms and commenting on their stuff as they post it, even if it's not a breakdown for a casting or a casting call, can be a nice way to start building up relationships and build visibility to those offices. So if they see who's commenting and, interacting with their stuff, they might actually start looking at your profile. And if it's set up correctly, and, they might invite you to casting calls and to audition, or to submit a self-tape audition independently. So you never know. Definitely start engaging with social media posts like that. So that actually leads me to three. Through connections and other actors and other industry professionals that you know in your immediate network. It's actually shocking to me how almost nobody simply asks their friends and contacts on a regular basis if they've heard of any open casting calls lately. Everyone wants to know how to find auditions, but nobody's asking where they are. So ask. It's often surprising. Reach out to all of your friends on a regular basis and ask, hey, have you heard of, is there casting going on that you know of? Anything in the works that you've heard? The more opportunities you have to do in-person auditions or submit self-tape audition tapes, the more you'll book. So it's a numbers game, really, to a degree. When you're navigating this acting business and looking for more ways to learn how to get started in acting or growing your career, the most important thing is to be bold. Stay creative, not just in your craft, but with your approaches on how you actually go about things and how you find out where the casting calls are and where the auditions are. Don't limit yourself to just the approaches others, including myself, are telling you. Build your circle of friends out consistently and ask a lot of questions. Be respectful of people's time. Of course, don't spam them or interrupt them, but don't hold back with approaching decision makers like casting directors, producers, directors, and stuff that can invite you to more auditions. The more people that think of you when they need actors for a project, the more invitations to auditions you will get. Now, I told you that I talk a little bit about how to think about submitting the self-tape auditions or the audition tapes to some of these casting calls. The biggest thing that I have to say about that is submit only to relevant things, right? Make sure that you are, if there are pages posted on a breakdown about what they want to see, follow the instructions to a T. And the place where you can take some creative liberty is in your actual interpretation of the performance of the character, right? But don't submit to things that are not even your type. If somebody's asking for an African-American male with very strong, rigid features, and you are a Caucasian, blonde, short female who's very delicate, like, you have no business submitting to that. So I'm using a very extreme example, but we time and time again see auditions coming into our casting calls that are not relevant, and it's irritating, and it actually makes you want to not work with those people. So don't just mass submit. Don't just look at it as a numbers game like, oh, going crazy when you find those auditions. But again, we'll cover all that in another video. So hopefully this gave you some insight. Like, subscribe, comment. If you're not on the YouTube channel, click the link to come to the YouTube channel, check out more content like this, and I'll see you on the next one.